So I'll release the results at a certain time on a certain day. You don't receive an email saying they're released. You have to know and just go back and log in to moresby.com with the same username and password you used to complete the testing. When you first land in Moresby Manager, you'll come to the planner page, and you land there because there's a parental access component. And what you can do is you can put in someone's name, and I'll just put in some rubbish information and create an invitation. So the idea is that you will email one of your parents, perhaps both of your parents. They'll receive an email with login details so they can have a look at your results without you having to share your password with them. When they log in, they'll see exactly what you do. They can make quite a few changes to your profile, but as soon as they log out, all that's lost. So you're still in control of your profile and all the decisions which sit in there. If you want to change things like email addresses, anything like that, you can go up to Account and change this information. But normally you'd start with clicking on Profile. And what we have here are a series of tabs, each of which talks about one aspect of you. So about how you performed in the aptitude tests, how you performed in the interest questionnaire, or what you said you were interested in, something about your personality based on that short questionnaire you did at the end, something on your learning style. And there are questionnaires you could do around priorities and one on study interests. No need to do those right now. You can if you want, doesn't do any harm at all, but don't feel the need to. So the idea behind this row of tabs, which are called the inputs, is you understand a little bit about what your test scores suggest about who you are, where your strengths lie, a statement of where your interests are, a statement of what your personality seems to be. And hopefully that all makes sense to you. Take some time, particularly read the information on the aptitudes tab. And that's because out of that 1 hour 40 minute of work that you went through completing the tests, 1 hour 25 minutes covers all the aptitude information. So it's really important you understand this. Don't feel you have to agree with it, just understand it. When we go to the interest tab, you can look at a little bit more than the 10 main areas of interest. You can, on the right, click on World of Work, and you here have what we call the Wheel of Work here, and this is live, and it's individual, so the size of a segment reflects the level of interest you have in that area. So this individual is interested in science, care and protect, and advise and help. And training seems to be pretty big. If you want to go into this in more detail, we can click there and say, yeah, training and well-being seems to be the main area there. And you can at any time, today, tomorrow, next year, retake the questionnaire. If you do that, it overwrites the existing results. So if what you're seeing there doesn't seem to feel right to you, you can do that. And you can also do that with the personality questionnaire. Just click on there and retake it. If, when you look at the aptitude, you think, nah, don't relate to that at all, then all you've got to do is ask your careers advisor, and as long as there's a justifiable reason rather than I just want to try again to get better scores, as long as something happened in the testing that makes you feel it doesn't reflect you, they can reset the tests for you, any or all of them, and there's no cost for that. Try not to do it within 6 weeks of initially going through the process, but past that, feel free. At the top, we've got the Careers tab, and this is where we kind of pull all the information together. The first thing we have is some information on predicted qualifications based on your test scores. But test scores are not good predictors of academic attainment, so feel free to change that. So this individual, for example, based on their test scores, the system's saying, yep, get a decent ATAR, but maybe not an exceptionally high one, and then go on and do a degree. What would the system know about your intention? So you might go in and say, actually, I think I'm going to get an 8R over 90, and I'm willing to put in the work to get a competitive degree. And that will allow certain careers like a hospital doctor and dentist to come into the list, where you really do need to be in those top few % of people to get there. You might look at this list and think, none of these really light my fire. To be honest, they're all right, but there's no spark here. So what you could then do is you could change the weighting of the system so that one aspect of you dominates the algorithm that drives the career suggestion. So you might say, let's have a look at my interests. I want to focus on my interests. And you see a slight change here. 3 new careers have come in. If you are focusing on your interests, great, but don't forget about 1 hour 25 minutes of you put into aptitude. So maybe turn that off and click on aptitudes as well, and just see what happens. So this is a sort of harder, more sciencey kind of view if you focus on the aptitudes. And you can do multiples. You might say, for example, I don't trust my interests. How would I know what I'm interested in? So you might focus on aptitudes and personality and see what happens. So if we did that, we get hydrographic surveyor. You can click on that. You can read about it. You can look at some related careers, and you could look at a range of resources, including things like how much they tend to get paid and a wide range of other information. So the idea behind this is that you are not being told what careers are right for you. You've been given a bunch of suggestions. If you like the suggestions, you might want to favourite them. That little star gives you a favourite, and you can just favourite straight from the screen. And that's useful later to track where your interests are. See this little +2 related careers? There are some careers which are very close to hydrographic surveyor, and if we showed them, we just wouldn't get, probably the bottom 2 would drop off. So you get a narrower, more focused view of what the suggestions are. But what we actually want is for you to explore yourself in different ways. And as a result of that, we kind of concentrate a few careers under one general heading. So if I click on 2 related careers, the other 2 pop in, geophysicist and geologist. And you might want to explore, if you like hydrographic surveyor, you'll want to know what they are as well. If there's a career that you really fancied, but it's not on the list, you can have a look at this. So let's say you always fancy being a teacher or a careers advisor. You could pop this in here and say, I want to be a teacher, favourite that, and that will say how well suited the system thinks you are to being a teacher. Not very well in this situation. You can also bin careers. So if you definitely don't want to be a business analyst, and they're a real growth area by the way, you could click on that and bin it, and then bring those back later if you choose. So the idea behind this is not to generate 3 careers or 12 careers for you to choose from, but instead to give you the opportunity to explore and have a play, because we know your ideas might well change in the next 2 years, and you might want to come back and redo a questionnaire or have a play with the focus, etc. When we look at options at 16, we look at all the options available at this school, rank ordered according to their suitability. You see this bar coming down, and they're all there. If you want to know more about them, you can click on them, and if you like the sound of it, you can say, yep, I want to do that, or I feel I should do that, etc., etc. If you're interested in apprenticeship, these are supported, as well as a search engine finding out more about the Australian apprenticeship pathways. And this is a national organisation that talks about alternatives to going straight onto a degree, say. Options at 18. Might seem like a long way right now, but actually it won't be long before you start thinking, what do I do after year 12? And if you're thinking of going on and doing a degree, then there's a questionnaire here already being done in this system that is really nice, takes about 8 minutes, and it will refine the information you've already given us by telling us a little bit more about what you're interested in studying rather than what careers you're interested in doing. So you might, for example, be interested in studying ancient Greek and archaeology. And there's not a huge number of careers in that, but nevertheless you might do that to get the transferable skills to open up other options for you. And again, there are more detailed information here, including things like what you might study in this area, similar areas, and a lot more resources. So you can see the idea behind this is you'd have a play, start favoriting, and start generating shortlists for discussion. You don't have to make decisions in Moresby. The idea is you start contemplating and thinking about things so that when it does come to crunch time and you are making subject selection in third term of year 10, then you feel well placed and informed that the subjects you're taking are important for the careers you're going into or thinking of going into, but also available at the school and something that seems to suit your strengths.